Let's look at the individual causes of poverty through the critical lens of sociology. Some researchers, and these would be ones more often in psychology than in sociology, think that deferred gratification, or rather a high desire for immediate gratification, may play a role. Elliot Lebu studied the lives of black men in the 1960s and concluded that because there was barely enough income to get by and what extra income was available was gobbled up by constant emergencies, the incentive to save for the future was low. Rather, people focused more on doing something right then that would be gratifying to them, rather than deferring gratification for a bigger payout later. So the question that this begs is whether this inability to defer gratification is a cause or a consequence of difficult financial situations. Horatio Alger was a popular writer in the 1800s and developed fictional accounts of rags to riches stories. Because the rags to riches story is mainly a myth, and very few people have that kind of success, this is called the Horatio Alger myth. The biggest problem with this myth is that the belief that people can get ahead if they just work hard allows us to think that there's some kind of failure on the part of the poor to get ahead, and this denies the structural aspects of poverty. Your author asks us to think about what the future holds in light of the trends seen in social class today. In the section Thinking Critically, the coming three-tier society and the militarization of the police poses the question of how society will be structured in the future. Henslin proposes the possibility of three tiers: the elites, who will live in gated communities and run the general affairs of society; those that serve the elites, professionals and teachers; and then the third tier will be the jobless poor, because the need for unskilled labor is drying up in our country. There's little of this kind of work, and what work does exist is very low paying. Henslin proposes that the poor will be pacified through food stamps, subsidized housing, entertainment, and sometimes drugs. And a second solution might occur, which is the militarization of the police. A more militarized police force may be needed to control the impoverished masses. You may or may not disagree with Henslin's ideas about the future. So that concludes our lecture about social class. We use principles and concepts that would be relevant to both a Weberian and a Marxist analysis. I hope that you see that both theorists help us understand social class and that each gives us a different lens to think about how social class impacts our life opportunities. We've also looked at the ideas of status consistency, at social mobility, and some of the reasons for poverty. And we've at least considered what the future might hold, at least according to your text author's view.